this issue of X-Men Blue, right? Because with Havoc, and it's like the panel at the bottom of a page. If you when you read it, if you read it, you'll see it, and it looks like Oliver Coipel did it. Like he it looks exactly like if Oliver Coipel did this issue, and he drew Havoc on this panel, this is exactly what it would look like. Like this dude Corey Smith is really good, like really good. How come I've never seen him before? Like I think he did the Monsters Unleashed issue of All New X-Men, but it was about All New Wolverine, and it was her and Gambit. The X-Men weren't even really in it. It was just Gambit and friggin' Laura. But the art is just so good. I was like, I hope they dump the other two guys that they had. I mean, the guy who did 4 and 5 was pretty good, but if he's not going to come back and Matteo Buffagani's not coming back, then have Corey Smith as the secondary artist. This way we don't, because the guy who did the last issue, it was a decent issue. The story was good, but the art was not my speed. Not for an X-Men book.
Yeah, I know. That was horrible.
Maybe like Moon Girl or something like that shit would fly. I'd be okay with it, but not on this book.
All right, here we go. We got facts.
I don't have any facts. My window.
I got a bunch of stuff for I got Miles and Taskmaster this week, which leads into the new Spider-Man books. So. All right, we are back with the midpoint marvelous facts. I'm taking over for Carl this week. We got two dudes showing up in our facts section, and since Carl we think fell asleep. Well, I'm gonna help go over first appearances and the what the fuck fact section for you guys. Our first one is a good transition. Actually, our second one is a good transition as well into the next title, Spider-Man 2 #1. Our first spotlight character would be Miles Morales, obviously one of the title characters from that book, and he had a first appearance in Ultimate Fallout in the Ultimate Universe line of Marvel books. #4, that's from August 2011, back when the Ultimate Universe Peter Parker died. Some interesting facts about our, character Miles Morales, aka the Black Spider-Man. He's created by Brian Michael Bendis, Sarah Pachilli. He is allegedly, and I say that loosely because he's never died and come back to life yet, but allegedly immortal because his spider was injected or infected with the Oz formula, which Norman Osborn himself used to.
They had that battle, right?
Yeah, and he's basically he can't be killed because he's been thought to be dead a couple times and always come back, and the Oz formula has been the reason behind it. Just basically needs time to heal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I remember that battle. It was from the Ultimate Spider-Man right before Secret Wars. It was the first 6-issue arc where Peter Parker comes back because he never died because he's immortal too, and then Osborn realizes he's immortal, and that scientist shoots him in the face, and he gets his brains blown out, and he comes back to life.
And he comes back,
and he calls them his children. He tries convincing Miles that he's his real father because he gave him eternal life and birthed the Spider-Man.
Yeah, all because of this Oz formula. So that's one of the first crazy things, but that's yet to be tested again. Miles has never been killed and come back, but that's the quote-unquote rumor behind the Oz formula. It's been proven with Peter Parker in the Ultimate Universe and Norman Osborn. We move on to his web shooters, which were originally created and used by the Peter Parker in the Ultimate U. Aunt May gave them to Miles, once she realized he wasn't just a copycat shaming Peter's name. Over a year later, Miles's were updated with a pair from S.H.I.E.L.D. So he eventually kind of got S.H.I.E.L.D. tech web shooters and didn't have the rickety ones invented by Peter when he was, just a teenager. So his current ones are, again, S.H.I.E.L.D. tech, at least from what I can tell, because he's basically just brought everything over from that universe to this one.
Yeah, which is funny because Peter forced him to give those back to him too, and he should have been like, "These
Yeah.
aren't even yours anymore,
Because
man.
he had
These
to
are
run
mine."
around. Yeah, he had to run around like a chump for a few issues. But I think he did end up giving them back to Miles.
Yeah, Peter did. He's like, you got my blessing after they fought
Yeah.
Osborn together.
Yeah. And then in an Earth 616 version of Miles was originally going to appear in Spider-Man, and he would have become a supporting character of the Amazing Spider-Man, but those plans were changed so that Miles could be the successor to Peter in the Ultimate Universe, I guess is how it all goes.
That's cool.
Yeah. So you just kind of like separate them a little bit instead of Spider-Man having a quote unquote black pet. You know what I'm saying? Because that would obviously look shitty. It's not the 50s. You can't pull that off much anymore. And we move on to Taskmaster. I always have such a problem saying that name. Like I can't pronounce the K. You know what I'm saying? I always want to say just Taskmaster, or Tast. I always want to say it comes out a little bit like that. But anyway, we got two versions of Taskmaster we're going to cover today. The original OG version of Taskmaster in the 616 universe. His first appearance. Whoops, sorry.
I said I love him. He's the best. He's hilarious.
Yeah. Clancy Brown is the original name he goes under. That you don't hear that much anymore, so I thought that was interesting just off the bat. He originally came to be in Avengers number 195, and that was from May 1980, so 2 years before I was born. Created by George Perez and David Michelini.
George Perez Taskmaster?
Yeah, that's the credit when I looked it up.
That's pretty cool because he's like the Marvel version of Deathstroke, and George Perez created Deathstroke. So, well, with Marvel.
Oh, there you go. That makes perfect sense. So that dude knew how to butter his bread. He's like, I got a thing. I'm going to do it at two different companies. The Ultimate Universe version of the character goes by a different name. He's originally Anthony Masters. He got his start in Ultimate Comics Spider-Man Volume 2, number 26. So October 2013, he came to be.
Any relation to the Thing's girlfriend?
I don't know. I don't think so. He's like a big bald-headed black guy. Kind of looks like a little like Michael Clark Duncan when you see him with his mask off.
Because Thing's girlfriend is Alicia Masters.
Oh, so maybe I just don't know. Anyway, I got some crazy facts for Deadpool. Taskmaster. He Deadpool's in one of the facts. That's why I'm saying Deadpool here. But these are mostly attributed, from what I know, to the OG Taskmaster, because the Ultimate Universe one really doesn't have a whole long history there. He's only been in a couple stories before he reappears. Spoiler alert, in Spider-Man 2 coming up, number 1 this week. So anyway, facts. Form of amnesia causes him to forget old memories whenever he learns something new. So that's for OG Taskmaster. Hates fighting Deadpool because of his unpredictability and no single reliance on like a true fighting style. So he can't really pick up on what he's doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because one of Taskmaster's things is he can like adapt to the fighting style that's yours. You know what I'm saying? And since Deadpool doesn't have one, he just has a hard time fighting Deadpool, and Deadpool usually does get the better of him. There was a cool couple issue arc with Taskmaster and Deadpool in the all new, all different Deadpool. That was really pretty cool. So if you like Taskmaster, you could check that out. You'd like that.
There was a cool episode of a Disney Spider-Man show I caught one day while flipping channels, and it was with Deadpool and Taskmaster.
I put that in in our clip last week for the book we did, because it was Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe.
Yeah,
that was like the intro to it. It was Deadpool introducing himself while fighting Taskmaster. So that's funny you say that. Anyway, the last one I got here is he's known for setting up training centers that help criminals become better fighters, And they also occasionally, he's been known to take in superheroes and train them at times. So I thought that was pretty crazy, interesting.
Well, he's a funny guy because, like, technically he's a bad guy because, you know, whoever pays him, he'll do what they ask. But sometimes he just, like, lets people go, or he's just like, screw this, because, like, he's just in it for the money. He's not, like, necessarily like an ass, like a complete asshole, but he is an asshole nonetheless.
Right.
Like he had
He's basically
couple of,
Deathstroke, like we said.
yeah, he basically is Deathstroke. He had a couple of really funny moments with Scott Lang in the Ant-Man and Astonishing Ant-Man series. It was pretty funny.
So yeah, that's all the what the fuck facts this week. Just two guys, and we've already kind of beaten Old Man Logan to death, and we did Maestro, and
Yeah,
I didn't want to do first appearances of Darth Vader because that's basically a fucking movie. So
I do hope.
Yeah, so I picked out some characters for you know the book we're about to cover here now, Spider-Man 2 #1. But I made a list. I meant to tell you, I made a list today of everybody we've covered so far. So I'm going to get that alphabetized so we know and don't have to like guess at people for that section anymore. So I'll keep that an ongoing thing so we don't ever, you know, cover somebody twice. Although there are some people like in the first episode, like we did like 5 or 6 first, like every character that we showed up in the book from the first episode. We just did a first appearance for. We didn't really cover in facts, so they have stars next to them, so we can cover them again because there's some big guys in there that we kind of glanced over. But that's all how the sausage is made. Shit, you guys really don't care about. We're gonna take a quick break leading into Spider-Man 2 and be right back.
Boom.
So we're gonna do sign out segment here. I just got for this week, we're going to do top 10 books of the month of June for Marvel Comics. I picked those out because I thought it was an interesting lineup. And then I just figured we go over our top 3 Marvel movies since there's only one more to come out this year. And I don't know if that'll crack my top 3, even though it looks like fun. So,
what, Thor?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It may. It looks like the best Thor movie ever. So,
yeah, it does look like the best Thor. I agree. But all right, let's get this going here. We can discuss the movie show when we get there. All right, we are back for our final sign-out segment here, guys. And we kind of got a double dose for you this week. We're going to quickly run down the top 10 Marvel books for you of the month of June because the sales numbers didn't come out yet, but they released just the top 100 sellers. And then we got top 3 Marvel movies that just, you know, me and Trevor personally take to heart and think are our favorites right now since Spider-Man just came out last week and then still riding the high of that. But anyway, we'll go in numerical order from 1 to 10 since there's not really much of a build-up. You can kind of almost guess what the top-selling book will be each month for both, you know, Marvel, DC, and even some of the indie lineups. Yeah, like Image always has Walking Dead #1 every month.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Always. The Walking Dead is always in the top 10.
It's usually in the top 10 overall too. So anyway, Marvel books for this month. #1 ended up being Peter Parker, Spectacular Spider-Man. But I think that's going to have a huge drop off for #2.
Yeah.
We're not going to see that #1 in #1 or maybe even our top 10 Marvel books in July. I don't think. So we'll do this again in July and find out and compare and see what went up and down. But anyway, 2 ended up being Star Wars Darth Vader #1, which I found interesting. But yeah, that's been a huge hit for Marvel, and I wish they would have just kind of done the Image thing and put the book on a break for a while until they got a new team in line and a new story idea, and then just made it 26. You know what I'm saying?
For what?
This Darth Vader. Or is this a totally different timeline than the first?
It's a totally different timeline because it takes place. This takes place. The prequels, the third prequel movie, Revenge of the Sith. This takes place after that, as where the previous series takes place in the timeline where the Star Wars books take place.
Okay. So there's a little more of a reason for this than just the traditional superhero renumbers. Anyway, but But then number 3 ended up being Edge of Venomverse, number 1. We did cover that book for you guys. So we'll see where Edge of Venomverse 2 falls, because that came out this week. I still got to read that one. Then 4 and 5 were both the Secret Empire main books. So, the not tie-ins or anything, just the main series. And 4 and 5, ironically, fell at numbers 4 and 5 for Marvel. So that's funny. Number 6, another Star Wars book, the main title, number 32, Star Wars. And then number 7, another Star Wars title, Star Wars Darth Vader, number 2. And are they double shipping that all the time, or is that like a 3 and kind of double shipping every other month?
So far, the first 3 issues have been double shipped.
Okay.
I think one had like a 3-week. I feel like one number 3 had a 3-week break instead of a full month. I'm not completely sure on that.
Sometimes they do that. They do like 3 issues in 2 months, basically.
Yeah.
Some books fall like that. Anyway, Star Wars Darth Vader number 2 was 7, so that didn't even have a huge drop from its first issue, which is a healthy sign for that book. It'll keep popping up in that top 10 probably. Number 8 was Defenders number 1. And then number 9, The Amazing Spider-Man 29.
Nice.
And number 10, Old Man Logan 25. So that's the Marvel top 10 for June. The top sellers. Yeah, not bad. Secret Empire, I'm actually surprised, because usually the Marvel event books are their top sellers. So this one is cooling off. I wonder if towards the end it'll even kind of be in the top 10. It might be like 9 and 10. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hey, probably because everybody's starting to get story fatigue from this book because it's just dragging on.
Mm-hmm.
And then adding another issue, and then adding an Omega and an Aftermath.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And now they're playing with page counts and a couple different issues and prices.
Yeah, they're adding issues, and they're tacking on like certain books. So like you'll see Avengers, Secret Empire, Aftermath, like Avengers number 12, Secret Empire, Aftermath. So they're like infecting other titles with this Aftermath bullshit too.
Yeah, everyone just wants it over. But anyway, we're gonna change tunes here to some kind of opinion related thing to end everything for you guys. Top 3 Marvel movies. And I'll go 3, 2, 1 here. I got number 3 is the most recent. I got Spider-Man Homecoming is my 3rd favorite. Just a good Spider-Man movie, probably my favorite Spider-Man movie that's come out so far. I just like kind of the differences and just the fresh take on it. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't an origin story. They just got that out of the way, and just I like his supporting cast and everything about it. It was a good movie. Go see it if you haven't. Number 2 was Avengers, the first one, where the whole group got together for the first time. Like seeing it in IMAX 3D was awesome. Watching it at home was awesome. Like it's probably the movie I've watched more than maybe any other movie I've ever watched. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, most definitely.
I watched it on HBO every time it was on HBO back when I had cable, and when it was on Netflix, I was just watched it because it was on Netflix, So just a great movie. Love that. And then my top one is still and has not been dethroned, Winter Soldier. I love the second Captain America movie.
Yeah.
That's my favorite. By far still, like none of them have just been able to really touch it since that one. And I went and saw that movie actually alone. It was when I lived in Maryland. Like I couldn't get anybody to go, and I just woke up because S.H.I.E.L.D. was coming on that Tuesday, and it was Monday. I was off work, so I just went and saw it by myself, and I was like, that was the best fucking movie I ever saw. So
yeah, it was
still one of my favorite like all-time movies. I just love that flick.
So good.
But what about you? What are your top 3?
My top 3. I had a list in mind, but then you said something that made me think of another movie that I wasn't initially thinking of. But I got my 3 right here. Number 3 is the first Guardians of the Galaxy, because I wanted to choose Spider-Man Homecoming because that's a really special movie, because out of like 5 Spider-Man movies that were already made, they managed to make a Spider-Man movie that felt completely brand new and fresh, which is like should have been impossible. But unfortunately, it had a big drop off, like a 73% drop off in its second week. So like I don't know why.
Yeah, I think that's just Spider-Man fatigue. Like the general public doesn't care. That
Yeah,
doesn't mean like comic book fans don't still like it and want it. It's just like the general public has seen Spider-Man
yeah, they're like
movies.
another Spider-Man movie
Yeah,
because like something that was actually brand new, like Wonder Woman, had like a 30%
right.
drop
Yeah,
off in
it
its
didn't
first
go
week.
anywhere forever because
No,
it's
for a long
literally a
time.
brand
Yeah,
new property. Like first time in the theater, all
its
that going
drop
for it.
its drop offs broke records because it had much small drop
Such
offs
little
week after
drop off.
week.
Yeah,
Yeah, but my number three is Guardians because at the time when it came out, you know, we were getting all this just regular superhero movies, and then all of a sudden this awesome cosmic space opera comes out, and it was completely different, like the
yeah.
tones, the costumes, the colors. Like it was almost like a comic book where even the colors mattered, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it was so beautiful and so
That would have
different.
been my three before Spider. Like if we did this last week before I saw Spider-Man, that would have been my three too.
Yeah, and let me tell you, like I've seen that movie like at least 30 times. Like at least 30 times have I like put it on, saw it on HBO, watched it every time it came on, you know, like
Mhm.
every time it's on I've watched it. My number two is Captain America the Winter Soldier. Uh honestly, that movie was just like so damn good. Like I really enjoyed Captain America the First Avenger. It was a cool movie, but it definitely wasn't one of the best movies, but it was a really cool movie. But the Winter Soldier just like blew me the fuck away. Like it was
Yeah.
just like a political like thriller and a comic book movie, and Captain America's costume in the beginning, like that shield costume, tactical
Yeah,
costume he
that
had
was
is
sweet.
so badass. But that opening scene when he gets off the parachute and he goes onto the boat and
The boat is so awesome. I love
he's
that
like
scene. And the
knocking people
elevator
overboard.
scene is so
Oh
awesome.
my god, it's just so much good stuff. So much that's oh god, I love that they you know Ed Brubaker was in that movie too. They based it off of Ed Brubaker's story of the Winter Soldier, and he was in the movie. He played a scientist in the movie.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
it's pretty cool. And my first favorite overall, um, it was a toss up. It was really hard, and I don't know how. Like because I picked two of these movies, you'd think that one of them would be two or three, but those other two movies I mentioned are just too important to knock them off for one of these. It was in between Iron Man and Avengers. Um, and I'm gonna go with as much as I wanted to go with Iron Man 1 because it kicked off the universe and it was absolutely
Yeah,
perfect,
it's
like the
really
most
good. Yeah.
perfect origin story ever. I had to go with Avengers though for my number one because it was like, you know, it was the movie that tied all the Marvel universe together. It was like the first movie that set us up for what we're getting now. Like we got Age of
Yeah.
Ultron, we get Infinity War. Like if it wasn't for Avengers being so successful and being so good, we wouldn't get all the great stuff we're getting now. And not only that, but like growing up watching the Iron Man cartoons, the Fantastic Four cartoons, the X-Men cartoons, the Spider-Man cartoons, like in the 90s, they had like our Marvel frenzy of cartoons, and I used to like religiously watch them. And my brother was always a gigantic comic book fan, and we used to talk about comic books all the time, and he'd like teach me about all the characters and stuff. Even when I was like 5, like this kid was like breeding me to be a comic book fan, and it's hilarious. And when I saw the Avengers, like I got chills. You know, I like when we were kids, we would talk about this all the time. Like, what if we could get an Avengers movie or an X-Men movie? Like, we would die to see those movies. And then when I actually saw it come to fruition, like in that scene when they're fighting the Chitauri, like the hairs on the back of my neck stood up, and
Yeah,
it was just
it
it's a
really
great
catches
movie.
you.
Oh, such a great movie. So definitely Avengers.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how we're gonna wrap things up there with our top Marvel movies. You guys looking to contact us? You want to get a hold of us? We went through the email and our Twitters. We'll run through them again one more time for you. You want to send us an email, some thoughts you have. You want us to cover a book we haven't. That's at Marvel Madness Pod at gmail.com. Twitter, as always, is at Madness Marvel 1. And then we're just going to run down the books. I think what I might do is I might put a vote up for the Spider books. We got 3 next week. Peter Parker, Spectacular Spider-Man #2. We got Renew Your Vows #9. And then the final issue of Spider-Man 2099. So number 25. So I'm not really sure which one I want. I was kind of leaning towards Renew Your Vows initially, but I know some people might want to see if Peter Parker #2 picks up at all. And then I don't know how many 2099 fans there are, but a final issue probably for a while. We might not see Spider-Man 2099 again. So I might just pick this up on my own and see how this all wraps up. So that look for a poll this week because I might put a one-day poll up there and see which one you guys want to cover as far as spider-related books go. But Carl let us know he was going to cover all new Guardians of the Galaxy #6. So we haven't covered that since #1. I got some catching up to do. And then I didn't even ask you. I just assumed you would be doing Astonishing X-Men #1.
You assumed correctly.
Yeah. So and then we also, it's a 4-book week because Secret Empire 6 is coming out.
With a nice break with some Lionel Francis Yu art.
Yeah. And this is one of the ones that got delayed, and I think $1 was added to it in some pages. So this is going to be a long issue.
8 or 10 extra pages. So it better be fucking good.
Yeah. So hopefully something happens. Maybe that's the hint. We get some
Hulk.
Big fucking events happening.
Do you remember?
I remember the Hulk cliffhanger, but my problem with the cliffhangers in this series is they never pick up in the
they don't. Issue. You're right.
So
they better.
I'm not really counting on Hulk issue. I think that's a chip in the bag for later.
With their secret base getting destroyed, it like fucking better pick up with Hulk, or I'm gonna be pissed because that's like the Rebel base got destroyed. Like if it just glazes over that, I'm done.
I also want to know how Banner is sitting in a room when he was shot in the head with a fucking arrow. So we got some
zombie.
We got some splaining to do, Lucy. But that's going to be it for us, guys. Me and Trevitt are signing out. Carl is signing out from his bed. And we will catch you next week. Same Marvel time, same Marvel channel. Adios, guys.
Peace.
All right.
Hey.